Every snap is an interview.
After the Snap.
What a snap.
Hey, keep your mouth shut, 50!
I lead by example.
With Blake and Reed Ferguson, discussing life in, out, and after football.
To be able to leave walking away with a degree and a championship, it couldn't be any better.
Yeah!
Well, you can take this boy out the real south on but you can't take the real south out of my voice. And now here we go again, twist a little bit deeper because I got thick skin.
So Blake, I know we're recording this on Thursday evening. It's about 7:40. Getting ready to turn on Thursday Night Football.
Let's go.
This week it is Washington v. Chicago. Let's see. I'm trying to think of who we know. I know Cheeseman. We had him on the podcast.
Yep.
We also had Pat Scales on the podcast. So two friends of the pod going at it tonight on TNF on Amazon Prime. I'll tell you what, and I know we weren't going to really talk about the Thursday night deal because there hasn't been, like, last week was not a great game. This week, based on perceptions of teams, whatever, like a bunch of people have been making fun of Thursday night football, the matchups and whatever.
It's been getting a lot of heat.
It's been getting a lot of heat. I think that's funny because the same people that are going to sit here and complain about it are the same people that are watching the game and the pregame and all the way quarters, all 60 minutes of football more last week, because it's not addicting, but you can't turn it off.
Yeah.
The NFL is so powerful, you can't, no matter what the product is on television, it's hard. You can't turn it off, whether you're watching for your favorite team, somebody playing, you hate the team that you're watching, you're cheering for somebody on your fantasy team, whatever it might be.
The fact that there's nothing else on a Thursday night on
there's
TV.
nothing else on. The Yankees game got postponed. That's what I would be watching instead.
Yeah.
But I'll be watching Thursday Night Football this week.
I think if you look at the data, which I did earlier today, the ratings for Amazon's Thursday Night Football product has been significantly higher than they were anticipating or what their goal was. I was talking to Thomas Morstead, our punter, who is one of the executive committee members for the PA and was sort of in those conversations when they were talking about doing the Thursday Night Football deal on Amazon, and just saying how with it being a premium subscription football game one night a week, you're naturally
premium being the price of it.
Premium being
or
you have to have a subscription to Amazon Prime.
Got it. Okay.
It's not on your local television. It's not on cable television. You're naturally going to lose some viewership, and so the goal, he said, was somewhere around 7 million a week, and they've been averaging close to 11, 12 million a week. Last week, the Broncos Colts game was like 9.7. So it was kind of right in the middle, but still better than the goal of 7 million. And so I think you're right. I think that the fact that there's really nothing else on TV on a weekly basis on Thursdays besides, some college football games, NFL is always going to outweigh college football games, no matter who's playing. Always. And so, I think that even if it's a quote unquote bad product, bad teams playing, whatever the case may be, people are still going to turn it on. I'm still going to watch it. You're still going to watch it.
Yep.
And, I really don't even watch primetime games, but there's no, there's not a. Is there any baseball on tonight? I know the Mariners and the Yankees Astros just finished.
Yeah, they just finished, and the Yankees game was going to be on now. So, and it got rained out. So, but what I was going to say was, I think the one thing that that Amazon has done really well with TNF this year is the all 22 angle that has all the next gen stats in the screen window while you're watching the game. I think that's
have you
that definitely
watched that?
adds to the. I have a little bit. It's hard for me to watch that the whole time because I do like the focused in camera angle on like a normal football camera,
Right.
but
So is it
people
just
that
is it the end
it's
zone
a side,
copy, or is it a
yeah, it's a
sideline
side copy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just zoomed out. But they have it's like a picture in picture kind of deal where they have like the side and bottom is next gen stats
Got it.
and
Okay.
the big window is the game. But
So it's kind of like you're watching film, but
sure, sort of.
but you're just watching the whole game like that, and then the commentators are broadcasting it. You're getting that audio
I'm pretty
feed.
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't watch it last week. It's been a few weeks. Just
I don't
because
know
I
how
like watching the
enjoyable-
normal one so much, but there a lot of people have been, including myself, have been appreciative of the alternate
Yeah.
viewing choice,
Experience.
if you will, experience. Sure. So
That's
okay,
definitely
so I wanna get
something I'm gonna
into-
be. That's definitely something I'm gonna be
yeah,
trying out
tune in tonight for sure. Tune in tonight. So I want to get into the week 5 review. I know we have a few things later in the show that we are eager to cover. A little roughing the passer drama and some Devonte Adams
Some roughing the
mishaps, maybe roughing the cameraman.
From,
So we'll
Glad
get
we're
to
on the
that in
same
a few
page
minutes. Yeah, we'll get to that in a few minutes. But I want to cover our games from this past week. We both played on Sunday and both played in the 1:00 slot.
I want to
Go ahead.
note just how interesting that is. That this being we just played week 5. That
Week
was the
5.
first time you and I played 1:00 games outside of our game that we played against each other.
Yep.
In the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mom and Dad were able to go to every single game.
Yep.
Thursday night football, you started out. I had Sunday 1:00 game, and then
you had Sunday.
we were
had
Sunday
Monday
again. Y'all were Monday night, and then we played each other.
Yep.
And then we were
You were
Thursday
Thursday,
night. Y'all were Sunday.
Yeah.
So this past
crazy.
week was the first time that they weren't able to be at
Yep.
both of our games because they were at the exact same time. That's crazy to me.
When is your next prime time?
Next week, Sunday night football against the Steelers.
Okay, all right, that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
So we had Pittsburgh. We hosted Pittsburgh. Good to see our guy Christian Kuntz. Have you played against him?
Nope.
He is a second year guy. He's doing a good job. But
Is he former
this was
linebacker?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I mean, he's a pretty big dude.
Okay.
I could see that. But it was our, like you said, week 5. It was our first home 1 p.m. game, which is always a story in and of itself for anybody listening that is native to Buffalo or that lives here and routinely goes to games. The first 1 p.m. game for the tailgaters and the traffic and the contraflow is always an interesting sight. I had to wake up a little bit early on Sunday to make sure I was not stuck in traffic, and I still was. So that was the first 1 p.m. Yeah, that's it. That's about the only time you'll sit in traffic in the greater Buffalo area is on a game day by the stadium
at like 8 a.m., 9 a.m.
Yeah, well, yeah, anytime before kickoff. But so that was fun. We beat the Steelers 38-3. It was fantastic. I mean, a lot has been made of this game. Josh, Steph, Gabe Davis, the defense balling out. I did think that their quarterback, I love Mitch Trubisky, but Kenny Pickett, I mean, he was dealing it a little bit, and it was sustained wins were were hanging around 20 sustained wins, gusts up to 35. So I mean, it was not easy. And then that 98-yard, I'm sure you've seen on the first drive, the 98-yard touchdown pass to Gabe Davis. Josh threw that. It was straight into the wind. and you can kind of see it if you watch maybe the TV angle or a close-up angle of the ball. You can kind of see, I mean, I was sitting there, it was third and 10 from the 2-yard line, and we were like getting ready to go out and punt, and I was like, this is not where you want to be, backed up. And I see him
punting into the wind.
Yeah, exactly. And I see him release it, and it's a spiral, and by the time it like halfway gets to Gabe, it like breaks up and starts. I'm like, I hope this makes it to Gabe, because by then I'd saw that he had the receiver beat by like a yard or two, and sure enough it did. But yeah, that was a ton of fun. So crazy. Talk about you know, I know, like when we first started doing this podcast, we talked about like what are our pregame rituals in game, you know, how do you handle stress during games and stuff like that. So like just put yourself in the stadium for a minute. So we kick off, or they kick off to us. We had a backup returner in. He mishandles the ball. The wind kind of catches it, blows it real hard at the end, kind of fumbles it around, picks it up, tries to run and beat the edge, gets tackled at the 2-yard line or whatever it is. Not ideal. So, you know, we're like emotions, you know, kickoff, whoa, it's kickoff. And then, you know, fumble, you know, we're at the 2-yard line, you kind of go back down a little bit. And then it's like 98-yard touchdown pass. Oh my gosh, we're top of the, you know, you're on top of the moon. You know, go out there, kick the extra point. Ensuing kickoff into the wind, trying to get it down there so you can kick it to him and recover. Ball gets hung up, hits a wall of wind, and just falls straight down at the 20-yard line. Returner runs up, bobbles it. We recover it on the 15 or 20-yard line, whatever it is. And then we attempt a field goal. It gets blocked. So like it's up and down and up and down. Like the first 5 minutes of the game, I was like, holy cow, like felt like it was just I felt like I fast forwarded through a movie or something. Like I was like, oh my God, like all over the place. It was bananas. But yeah, so not a ton.
It felt like that for the first basically quarter of our game, except pretty much all of it was not going our way. And so it was like all of those awesome feelings, just like not those, just like opposite. We stopped them on defense to start.
Okay.
They punt to us down inside the 10. I think it was on like the 8-yard line or something. And first play of the game, Teddy goes down. They get a free blitzer off the edge, throwing, and he has to come out of the game. So we're first play out of the game. And from then on, throughout the rest of the first quarter, there were just penalties and there were different things back and forth that it just felt like it was like the slowest game in the history of ever, because there were just like so many stoppages, and like it just never felt like the game was going smoothly, and just kind of a bad normal back and forth. And then we kind of got into the second, third, fourth quarters, and then it did. But you've been in games like that where it's like what is happening right now? Let's refocus. And
it feels like you're playing on a tilted field.
Yeah, it does. That's
how I explain it to when you just have 3 or 4 drives that are not going your way, and you're losing the field position battle. And it's just, you feel like you're playing on the ground end of
all of a sudden you're playing with a rookie quarterback who didn't take, a ton of reps all week.
Team reps, right?
Because Teddy was taking those reps because Tua had gotten hurt the week before. So it just kind of felt like it was it snowballed a little bit.
Sure.
But yes, I totally understand what you mean by sort of that roller coaster. You get hyped up, and then it's up and down and up and down.
Okay, so we both hit on our games a little bit. There's been some recent news, just to want to get into a little bit of lighter note. some recent news out of the Miami Dolphins locker room. Can you? I have a feeling you know what I'm referring to. Can you
I do.
enlighten the audience on the recent news
Yeah.
of the Miami locker room?
So, for those who aren't following the Miami beat reporters, because this really hasn't been made much of a deal outside of that, we come in on, I think it was Monday, come in on Monday, and the way our locker room is set up physically, it's like a big oval room, lockers around the complete perimeter of the room, and then there's like a wall kind of in the middle, but like there's a split. So there's two kind of walls of lockers sort of in the middle of the room with lockers on both sides. There's this big opening kind of in the middle of the room, and during OTAs, I believe it was, the recommendation was made that the couches that were in that space with TVs on both sides, the couches should be replaced with a ping pong table.
Okay, just one?
Yes, there's only room for one.
Oh, okay.
So because of the way that the ball, bounces off the table,
sure.
you kind of have to have some extra space around it. So we get a ping pong table in there, and that quickly becomes like the thing for everybody on the team. Like Brandon Jones is in there playing every single day. Like guys are getting really good at ping pong. Like I would say probably half the team is, participating in daily ping pong games.
Okay. At some point
in the day,
Yeah.
Whether you're kind of in between a meeting, like a break in a meeting, you got 5 minutes to go play a game to 11 or whatever it is. So we come in Monday and the ping pong table is gone. And what ultimately came of that was that the leadership of the team, captains, decided needs to have a little bit of a refocusing on what we're in the building to do, and that is not to play ping pong. Which I definitely see the pros and the cons to that.
Yep. When Coach McDermott and the whole crew got here in 2017, we had Xboxes and PS4s in the locker room. Those were gone. A pool table, that was gone. I think we had a ping pong table and that was gone.
Yeah.
So I'll let you finish. And then
and so the sort of message was
the merit is there. I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, the message was that the focus just needs to be found again. And I think going back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the Jets game, a lot of those issues were self-inflicted things that are preventable. And so that was sort of where that went. Tyreek did say in the media today that because he was sort of the one that was leading the charge with just having it taken away and just having guys doing more productive things in their time there in the building. He did say that he got rid of it because he is getting a custom table for the team, Miami Dolphins, whatever. But I do think that there's some importance to what he did, and he / the rest of the leadership did. With it's a privilege to be able to have some relaxation time in the building, and you sort of earn that. I'm curious your thoughts. I know you wanted to mention something else.
Yeah, we basically did the same thing. It is removed the distractions because guys were coming in, playing video games like right after practice. The whole, you can everything that your mind is telling you is true. And some of that was under the old regime. But right when coach came in, all the distractions were out of the locker, all they were all gone. And same approach, you have to earn it, and it's a privilege to be able to spend your meeting breaks playing cornhole, playing ping pong, whatever, whatever it may be. So the merit is definitely there. It is something that we did a few years ago and had to earn back. So I'm with you. I think I'm going to say it's a good move because, it's working out well for us. Our guys know when it's time to get to business and when it's time to, mess around and play ping pong for 3.5 minutes while you got a pee break or something. So, it comes with the territory. I think you gotta, like you said, you gotta earn it. And it's a privilege, but it's something that, unless you've been in a locker room and needed some kind of way to, relax and whatever, you may not realize it, but anyway. Okay, so you said I asked you your next primetime game is next week. Who do you guys play this coming Sunday?
We're home versus the Minnesota Vikings.
Excellent.
1:00.
Awesome. We are going to Kansas City yet again.
You guys can't get a home game versus Kansas City?
I was reading an article the other day talking about the scheduling rotations and stuff. So I think we play there again next year. That's just the way the schedule
holy cow
falls because we play they played at us in 20. Okay. So we go there and we play there in 17. They came here in 20. We go back in 23. But this year is the same place finisher game. So anyway, the we are the late game, not the late game, the late afternoon game, like the America's Game of the Week on Fox or whatever it is. So that'll be cool. I like the afternoon game. The 1:00 is the best.
Is it like 4:15?
4:25, I think. We're like the later of the afternoon slot. But yeah, looking forward to that. It's a great crowd there. And
be loud.
Sure it'll be a great game. So all right, so next on the docket, very excited to give this award out this week. A guy that you and I have both played already this season.
Great dude.
And
really
great guy, doing a very good job snapping the ball at the moment. Second year guy. The after the snap, clutch snap of the week for week 5 goes to Baltimore Ravens long snapper Nick Moore.
Let's
for
go.
His game-winning field goal snap on the 43-yarder on Sunday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals. So we traded jerseys last week. It was raining, so I'm sending him one. He gave me one while we were there, but I didn't want to give him a wet jersey. So I will be sending Nick a jersey soon. But congratulations to Nick on winning this week's clutch snap of the week.
A lot has been made, and congrats to Nick, by the way. A lot has been made over the years of how outstanding Justin Tucker has been in game-winning scenarios, just in general. But I will say, and he even mentioned it, I will say that his operation that he's got from snapper holder that he's had with Morgan and Sam, and now the new crew that he's got is, I mean, they have been top notch, and
they're doing a good job.
It's very easy. I say it's very easy. It's very easy, makes it much easier. I guess is the
way I should say this.
to kick the ball when you know exactly where it's going to be, when it's going to be there every time for 11 years or however long he's been doing it. So
No doubt.
congrats to Nick Moore. Big time snap in a big time spot.
That's right. Few more things I want to cover. I felt like it was I felt like it was necessary to mention the fact that this season has been quite unfortunate.
It's been tumultuous for the Snappers.
Tumultuous, that is a word that I'm not sure I would ever say on my own. For long snappers, we've had quite a few guys, and I'm knocking on wood here, quite a few guys go down this season, either temporary or season-long injuries. But two of the recent injuries are two really good dudes. Cowboys long snapper Jake McQuaid tore his tricep 2 weeks ago on a play. I rewatched the play, and it doesn't he was just blocking, and it didn't really look like he did anything funny. But congratulations to Matt Overton and Tucker Addington. I'm not sure if Tucker I didn't look at the at like the roster or anything. I was just looking at the additions, but they were both on the P squad, and Matt got elevated for the game last week out in LA. So congratulations to those guys for getting another shot. And last Thursday, Broncos long snapper Jacob Bobenmoyer, another good dude, been snapping for the Broncos for a few years, hurt his hand on Thursday Night Football last week, got put on IR. Not sure if it's season ending, but the Broncos signed long snappers Joe Fortunato, who has been, I think he was in Green Bay for a stint, and Mitch Frabroni, who I believe is coming from the USFL. Is that right?
I'm not sure.
Are you familiar?
I'm not.
I think and shout out to I want to get his page right, because I actually had to refer to his page when making these notes. Mitch Frabroni. Fraboni, excuse me. Pro long snapper tracker on Instagram. Do you follow?
I don't. I have seen their posts before. They do a good job with like the with like updating the different transactions and stuff. It looks like Fraboni
USFL.
It looks like he was signed and cut by the Texans in 2021. Worked out for the Bears. Mini camp with the Texans back in 18 and the Cardinals in 19, and then USFL in the 2022 USFL draft. And then, was signed to the P squad a couple days ago. So congratulations to those guys for getting a shot. As a former practice squad guy, I know
it's been super unfortunate this year with injuries. Knock on wood that doesn't happen to either of us, but with Jake, the two Jakes, and then Jakes. Clark in Cincinnati. Hurt his
Tyler Ott in Seattle.
Tyler separated his shoulder in
Carson
camp.
Tinker is still snapping up in Seattle.
It's been tumultuous.
Yes.
For the snappers this year. So hopefully we can get through the rest of the season without any more.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So I hinted at it a little earlier, and I want to get your thoughts on it. There's last week, and I guess last week it was Sunday probably, Tampa and Atlanta, and then obviously on Monday night, Kansas City, Vegas had some pretty big calls on the whole roughing the passer deal. And I just want to be careful what I say, because when you say stuff in official media, like in a post-game interview, like when official NFL journalists are there and stuff, and you dig the refs, you get fined. So I'm not going to say anything bad. It seems like they're calling more of these because of the Tua situation. Would you agree?
I think just
Because
over
I think that, but I also don't think that, because if you look at the Kansas City one, Chris Jones lands on Derek Carr, sacks him, he fumbles, catches the ball. He's like catching the ball, but then lands on Derek Carr, and you can't land on him with your full body weight. Which when you're sacking a guy, like, how are you in the heat of the moment? How on earth are you supposed to like think about that? But then later in the game, I don't know his first name, Perryman for the Raiders, hits and sacks. I don't know if he sacked him or if he just threw him down after the pass, but he tackled Mahomes to the ground and slung him down, kind of like Tua got slung. So like, but they didn't call it. So I'm like, what's the line? But then you look at Brady, and Brady gets sacked or thrown down, whatever. It's the softest penalty I've ever seen. And when he's trying to get up, he kicks the guy, doesn't get fined for that. But then the ref doesn't throw the flag until Tom is asking for it.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here?
What was interesting to me was seeing the clip from, gosh, I don't even know when, that was kind of surfacing on Twitter of Tom Brady running the ball against the Bills back way back.
That was like his second year playing,
and
I think.
He takes an absolute shot.
Yes.
And it was just the comparison of then versus now, what would be made of that clip now versus back then. It was just
25 years ago, or
nothing.
like 20 years ago, so much has changed.
And like you said, it's, we have to be super careful what we say, but it's interesting, and it brings up a lot of questions when you talk about the techniques that the defensive players are supposed to play with. And you teach, get off the ball, you teach, get to the quarterback, you teach,
everything is aggressive,
get takeaways, strip the ball, do whatever you have to do to get the ball back to the offense.
Yep.
But also don't hurt the quarterback.
Right.
So you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. And I hate that for the defensive players, because I don't feel like that it puts them in a position to have success at all.
Yeah.
You can't hit a quarterback high, can't hit a quarterback low, can't hit a quarterback late, can't land on the quarterback. There's just so many things now that protect that position that I think even Tom Brady mentioned, like last year or the year before, in like
he did.
In like it was like one of those barbershop conversations things that he did, maybe with I Am Athlete or somebody, and he was just talking about how he thinks it's kind of crap now, how just like how they're calling these.
Does he?
Yeah, right. Didn't seem
Not
to
after
on
Sunday.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel for the pass rushers, because it just puts them in such a bind.
Yeah. It's tough. I at the article I was reading, Grady Jarrett got interviewed after the game, and he said, just looking back on it, I'm still kind of left clueless on what I'm expected to do in that situation.
Yeah.
It's the softest penalty I've ever seen.
Do players get fined for that as like an unnecessary roughness?
No.
Is that a fine?
Not maybe, since it's a personal foul. But I'm not 100%.
Okay.
Not 100%. Next, I wanted to hit on the Bobby Wagner, which is I think is just funny. The protester ran on the field 2 weeks ago. They played the Rams played at the 49ers. And a fan or it was a protester, not sure they were even there for the game. Well, they were there for the game, but ran on the field. I'm pretty sure they were like pink shirt with pink flare, which is exactly the same protester that was at our game against LA in week 1. Not sure if it was the same group or whatever, but
I think it was like an animal rights thing.
maybe. I couldn't read the shirt. I don't really know. But Bobby Wagner laid the wood on the protester.
It was a nice tackle.
And word surfaced that the protester suffered a concussion. Okay, so do you know exactly where I'm going?
No, but I just think this whole conversation is hilarious.
You know the recent video that's been being memed where the old guy is looking at the chalkboard and he's got the find out, F around,
the F around and find out.
and he's like, the more you F around,
the more you're
gonna find out. And it's slap that meme on this situation, and it's to a T.
Yeah. I don't
What do you
know
expect is going to
because
happen when you run on a football field in the middle of a football game?
And you've got the security guards guards who can't get the person down. Like they don't chase the person
In the
like they
middle
don't
of a play.
any
You're stopping play. These guys, nobody wants you to be out there.
I feel like it happens more and more now than it ever used to.
I mean,
and I know that the networks.
You're saying the protesters?
Yeah, I know that the networks have always done a good job of just not showing it. They cut to commercial, do whatever they have to do to not emphasize or not bring attention to these people who do these things, because that's exactly why they do them. But I do feel like that with the rise of social media and how quickly things end up on Twitter and Instagram and all over the place, that there's still just this attention being brought that people
100%.
Groups now are saying, hey, let me go throw paint or food at the Mona Lisa to bring attention to some sort of whatever.
People are
let me go run on a football field to
zip locking their necks to soccer goals.
What are we doing?
Somebody, I think in a Starbucks parking lot, put like their feet in cement and just like stood there and was like, I'm not leaving because Starbucks employees should get treated better.
You're dumb.
And so
to me, the whole situation is hilarious. And
I did see like right after that game, maybe the next day, that the guy had submitted some sort of police report or something.
Good luck.
Claiming that he was
trespassing.
He was assaulted or whatever.
Yeah. Good luck.
And to me,
and this is sort of a good segue into the latest news. To me, you're going to have a far less chance of having success if you're not supposed to be on the field, if you don't have a credential to be there, than you are in the case of Devonte Adams, who everybody saw on Monday night. Don't have to.
That's a great segue.
Everybody saw it Monday night. It was on the broadcast. They were signing off of the broadcast.
I know.
And
I
they
know.
show him like walking out with his handler, security guy, whoever it was, maybe a PR person, who knows. And he just shoves the dude. But like you can't run on the field protesting and not expect to be tackled by somebody. Just because it's Bobby Wagner doesn't mean, just because Bobby Wagner tackled you doesn't mean he was the only one that was going to tackle you. Somebody was going to tackle you one way or another.
10 yards later, it could have been a lineman.
Or a security guard who's paid to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's hilarious to me because the person's like, oh, he injured me. I'm going to get Morgan and Morgan on the case for the people, whatever the one call, that's all. So let's shift focus to the Devonte Adams thing, because I think that I don't know what the guy was carrying. It
looked almost like a boom mic.
The headlines have kind of gone back and forth on how they've described this guy, but he was carrying some sort of equipment for the production. He was a credentialed member of the media or whatever. Walks in Devonte Adams' sort of path as Devonte's leaving the field. Devonte shoves the guy. Guy gets thrown down, falls down, and is like, what just happened? I get it, you're frustrated, but what are we doing?
I feel like a crazy person because you and I have we're in the minority opinion here. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people all over the place that are like, "Oh, this is
it's a money grab. It's a blah blah blah." Okay. Sure. I think this is the situation we just talked about with the protester. Those people cry wolf and make the camera guy look bad for doing it.
Yeah.
When it's his turn, right? When when he needs to do it.
Right.
Maybe not. Who knows if he needs to do it? Who knows if he's really who's to say that he didn't break his finger or something falling down. He's holding a piece of equipment. Like if it lands on his hand wrong, you fracture your wrist. The
two things that I did see were he filed a police report. This is the equipment guy, the camera equipment guy. He filed a police report and he left in an ambulance.
Who's to say that he didn't suffer an injury? I mean, I don't care how mad you are after a loss. Division opponent, you almost had a chance to get the win. Like, I understand, I've been there. You can't do that. You can't. I don't care. Like, that's not, when somebody walks in front of you and you're walking off the field, you just what kind of reaction is that?
That's just not the way you treat
You're
a
just
human
an
being.
Angry person.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And even if, and I'll give him the slightest benefit of the doubt here, Devonte, I'm talking about, even if it was a chance reaction and you were just like so mad and you just blacked out and you just shoved the guy. Okay. Even if that happened and you didn't mean to do it, help the guy up.
Right. He just kind of looked at him and
show like a little bit of concern for the guy's health, right? He just walked by and like looked at him laying there. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand that. Yes, we have one of our best friends is a photographer that shoots NFL games. I still, even if we didn't know Brett and didn't understand what these guys go through to shoot these games and get on the sideline and like make a living that way, I still think I'd feel the same. Like, I don't think being friends with Brett changed my opinion on this.
Not at all.
Right? And the more I thought about it last night, I'm like, yeah, because I'm friends with Brett, I feel like this. No, that's not true at all. That's not how you, we may be making bigger of this than it is, but the dude filed a police report and he charged Devonte Adams with misdemeanor assault. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Made me sneeze. Okay. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. I don't know what to. That's not how you treat somebody.
No.
Period. End of story. I don't
Devonte
care if they bump if he bumped into him, if you wouldn't like turn to him and shove him away. Like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm sure Devonte is a nice guy. I see his Taco Bell commercials all the time. Dad loves them.
The
We saw, like,
commercials.
10 commercials when they were here over the weekend, like over the 3-day period.
He
loves those commercials.
Dad's a big commercial guy though.
He's a big
He loves to quote a commercial. Specifically
anyway, sorry,
the
got on my soapbox there for a second.
The progressive becoming like your parents one. Just weird situations. Specifically as it relates to the Bobby Wagner and the Devonte Adams things. There's no running from the limelight when that kind of thing happens. Like even if the broadcast hadn't showed it, there are still so many cameras and so many eyes on you.
Yeah.
As an NFL top 100 player, like really good receiver in a new place, like
Pro Bowl.
All the eyes are on you.
Yeah.
You cannot act like that. There's the slightest chance you could get away with it if you're like third tight end.
Right.
And you're like the first one off the field. But you're the last one off the field on a primetime game.
Yep.
Can't happen. So, that's a wrap on this week's episode of After the Snap. Thank you all for joining us as always. Subscribe, follow us at After the Snap Pod. Subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and go find our content places because we are just about everywhere. They're going to plaster our face on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Who knows where else?
You know who I've been seeing a lot of recently? I don't know how long they've been doing their podcast is Jason and Travis Kelsey. So
didn't know that
other brothers that are potting it up in the league. So
sounds like we got some competition.
We do have some competition.
Well,
their Twitter account has 12K. So got our work cut out for us. They have also each won a Super Bowl. So that might have something to do with it.
Or just the fact that they're like two of the most recognizable faces in football.
Probably.
I mean, we're also two of the most recognizable faces in football because we pretty much have the same face. We have the same face. Just
different hair.
Yeah, different hair. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks for following us as always. Thanks for listening. This has been After the Snap, tales from two brothers who live life upside down.